Hey everyone at Liverpool Zone News. All lads, strap yourselves in, because what I'm about to lay out for you is nothing short of a bloody earthquake rumbling through the foundations of Anfield. This isn't just a transfer, this isn't some cheeky little signing to patch up the squad. Nah, this is a heist, a midnight raid on the continent's crown jewels, a moment that'll echo through the cop like the roar of 1,000 Scousers on a European night. We're talking about the Reds pulling off the unthinkable, snatching João Neves right out from under the noses of those Parisian posh boys at PSG. 85 million euros. That's the figure that's got the transfer market spinning like a bottle on a pub table after too many pints. Arne Slot, our Dutch dynamo, didn't just dip his toe in the water, he dove in head first, cannonball style, splashing waves that drowned out every rival bidder. And Neves, that Portuguese pitbull of a midfielder, he's chosen Anfield over the Eiffel Tower, over the glamour and the galas, because deep down he knows where legends are forged. This changes everything, me old mates. The football world's just been turned on its head, and we're the ones holding the crown. Picture this, it's the dead of night in some shadowy corner of Lisbon, the kind of place where the street lamps flicker like they're in on The Secret. Phones buzzing like angry hornets, whispers flying across encrypted lines from Merseyside to the Algarve. Back in the summer, when Neves first burst onto the scene proper, PSG thought they'd wrapped him up like a Christmas present. 60 million up front from Benfica last year, with add-ons pushing it to 70, a 5-year deal until 29, and a salary that had him rubbing shoulders with the elite in League One. But hold your horses, because contracts, they're like old mates who promise the earth, but deliver nouse when push comes to shove. Neves' deal with PSG had a sneaky little release clause buried in the fine print, one of those contractual quirks that only the sharpest suits in the boardroom spot. It wasn't ironclad, it was bendy, like a Scouse accent after a few bevies, flexible enough for the right offer to snap it wide open. And Slot, he smelled blood in the water from a mile off. Our gaffer's been plotting this since the ink dried on his own contract, calling in favours from old contacts in the Portuguese network, the ones who know how to grease the wheels without leaving fingerprints. The negotiations? Pure theatre, lads, the stuff of spy novels crossed with a cop enchant. It started with a polite knock on Benfica's door. 80 million euros floated like a trial balloon, testing the winds. PSG, those flashy French lot, they laughed it off at first, didn't they? He's ours, they crowed, visions of him bossing their midfield dancing in their heads. But then the pressure mounted, subtle as a sledgehammer. Slot himself hopped on a red-eye flight, incognito mind, cap pulled low like he was dodging the paparazzi, to huddle in a backroom cafe overlooking the Tagus. No entourages, no flash, just 2 chairs, a pot of black coffee, and a map of Anfield sketched on a napkin. Lad, Slot's meant to have said, his voice steady as a metronome, this isn't about money, this is about legacy, about nights under the floodlights where the crowd shakes the stands, about lifting silverware that weighs heavier than gold. Neves, barely 21, but with eyes that have seen more than most twice his age, he paused, he pondered. Meanwhile, the phone lines were lighting up like Blackpool illuminations. United sniffing around again, Arsenal throwing shade from afar, even Bayern lurking in the shadows with their Deutschmark dreams. But every time Neves' agent picked up, there'd be Slot's whisper on the other end. We've got the plan for you, son, the real plan. Tension? You want tension? It was thicker than fog rolling off the Mersey on match day morning. Benfica, bless 'em, they were torn, loyal to their academy gem but eyeing the cash to rebuild. PSG ramped up the charm offensive, flying in private jets laden with promises of starting spots and spotlights. One report had their suits cornering Neves after a training session, all smiles and handshakes, but he brushed them off like a defender rock in air.
"Gimme time," he says, and time he got. Days turn into weeks, with Liverpool's offer climbing like a cop chorus. 75, 80, and then bam, 85 million euros locked in. That's the headline grabber, the upfront smash that made jaws drop from Lisbon to London. But dig deeper, and it's the add-ons that tell the tale of a deal sewn up tighter than a drum. 15 more if we hit Champions League glory. Another 10 if Neves bags 10 assists in a Premier League season. Mesas like that, they're not just bonuses, they're prophecies. Clauses galore, a sell-on percentage for Benfica, 15%, keeping everyone sweet. Performance triggers tied to clean sheets and progressive passes. Even a loyalty bump if he sticks around past 3 years. And the contract, 5 years firm, running to 2030, with an option for a 6th, locking him down while the ink's still wet. Salary? Here's the kicker, the twist that makes this feel like we've nicked him for a song. 60,000 euros a week. Yeah, you heard that right, 60 grand, not the 9 figures PSG were dangling. It's low, suspiciously so, because those contractual snags with Paris meant they couldn't match without ripping up the whole shebang. Liverpool swooped in, modest but mighty. It's not about the wage slip, it's about the wage of winning. He came for a steal, lads, virtually gratis on the salary front, all because the stars aligned in that peculiar Portuguese paperwork puzzle. PSG's left red-faced, scrambling for scraps, while we're counting a change and plotting the parade. Now, let's peel back the layers on this lad João Neves, because by God, his story's the fuel to this fire. Born in Tavera, down in the sun-baked Algarve, on the 27th of September 2004. Picture a scrappy kid kicking a battered ball on dusty pitches, dreaming bigger than the Atlantic that laps at Portugal's shores. Football wasn't a choice, it was breath, blood, the beat of his heart. Started at Casa Benfica Tavera, one of those feeder clubs where raw talent gets its first polish, like a diamond in the rough waiting for the grindstone. 4 seasons there, honing that right foot like a blacksmith forges a blade. Quick flicks, pinpoint passes that could thread a needle at 30 yards. Then up to Benfica's Algarve Development Centre, where the coaches clocked him straight away. "This one's different," they muttered, as he dismantled older lads with a cool head and a hotter engine. By 2016, he's in the main academy in Sexol, rubbing shoulders with the ghosts of Eusebio and Figo. But Neves, he's no shadow, he's the spark. Senior debut, January 2023, against Braga. No gentle introduction, a 3-0 loss, but he steps in late, fearless, like a gladiator tossed into the Colosseum. From there, it's a rocket ride. Premier League starts piling up, Europa League runs where he's the heartbeat in the engine room. By season's end, he's a starter, a talisman. 75 appearances for Benfica all told, 4 goals that weren't just strikes, but statements, like that brace in a cup tie that silenced doubters. Titles? Oh, he hoovered 'em up. Premier League in 23, Taça de Portugal twice over, Supertaça rolls in like clockwork. And Europe? Quarter-finals in the Europa, but it was the Champions League sniff in 2023, subbing on against Bruges, assisting the 5th in a 5-1 demolition that whispered, "World, take note." Awards rained down, Benfica's breakthrough player, Premier League Young Player of the Year, nods in the team of the season like confetti at a wedding. Market value? Shot from peanuts to 90 million euros in a blink. Transfermarkt scribbling figures like a bookie in a frenzy. Then the international stage calls, and Neves answers like a man born for the badge. Portugal U15s, U17s, U19s, he captains them all, scoring screamers in Euros qualifiers, tackling like a terrier with a grudge. Senior caps, 9 by the Euro 24 quarters, starting one, subbing in another, helping that selection machine purr to the last 8. Fast forward to 25, and he's in the Nations League final squad, deployed at right back in a pinch, mind you, And what does he do? Wins it 5-3 on pens against Spain, those rivals who chew up midfielders for breakfast. Player at a match in a Champions League thriller against City earlier this year. 7 tackles from 7. 51 passes zipped like arrows. A screamer to seal the comeback. And that Club World Cup race against Inter Miami. First non-Frenchie to do it for PSG since Messi. 2 goals, pure poetry, announcing he's no passenger. Style of play? Ah, now we're cooking, lads. João Neves isn't just a midfielder, he's a maestro with the bark of a bulldog. Central midfield's his throne, defensive anchor with a license to roam. 6 in the engine room, dictating tempo like a conductor in the stalls. Technically, butter. Close control tighter than a miser's fist. Ball sticks like